Good morning, Dominica. Good morning, Eastern Caribbean. Welcome to another Creole Heartbeat program. And we have a very special tribute today as QFM and Creole Heartbeat collides and bring a special tribute to one who has done so much for Dominica's arts and culture in Dominica, go way back. And very importantly, was part of the creation of Dominica's first international genre alongside Gordon Henderson and Julie Morillon and Pat Patrice and the rest of the brothers, Vivian Wallace. They created something unique for Dominica. They created a foundation, and that foundation is what gives Dominica the authenticity to say we have a World Creole Music Festival. We are very privileged in Dominica to have known Fitzroy, to have had Fitzroy as one of the sons of our soil, and his music, his legacy, we can't afford to let it go unnoticed. That's why we are here today to really pay tribute to this special brother who has done so much for us in several areas. And already seated with us, we have a packed lineup. We're expected to hook up with Afatan Mate, who would have played steel pan and know the antics of Fitzroy Williams. Also, his cousin Kiwi may be hooking us up on the telephone. We might also hook up with Comac of the Midnight Grovers, and in studios also will be Freddie Nicholas and Andrew Belloni Bird. They also played with Fitzroy Williams. It gives us great pleasure to welcome Za Emmanuel, who would have known Fitzroy from, I guess, childhood days, to actually lead us in that special tribute. Good morning to you, Za. What's up, my friend?
Morning, brother Wadix. How you doing?
Oh, okay, man. As usual.
As usual, flamboyant and Afrocentric.
Absolutely, because it's so
In your
important
outfit.
to honor
Yeah.
our ancestors. It's so important to make sure that those who blaze the trail, we continue to honor them. And today, that's what we're here to do today.
Yes, my brother.
Fitzroy Williams,
Ay. I have to say ay. Because it's not a loss. I would like Dominicans to understand that Fitzroy is not a loss. He's a gain. In his death, he's a gain and not a loss. You know, some people say sorry for your loss. No, say sorry for your gain, as far as I'm concerned. And we have a long relationship together. My dear friend, brother, may the ancestors welcome you into the realm. And I know you're going to be in that orchestra. And your boys up there, if you're early 10, you're serious partner, your cultural icon, and you guys and all the others who have made a significant contribution to Dominica and move forward. May God bless your soul, and may you guys' memory be a blessing. Fitzroy Wallace.
Absolutely. And you would have known Fitzroy possibly all of his life.
Yes, as a kid, we were kids together. We grew up together. You know, Fitzroy had different little cliques, right? He had the Roseau Central clique, the boys and them, you know, and whatever. Then he had the Goodwill clique, the Gaylords clique. But folks, he had a Southern clique. And that Southern clique is a non-musical clique. And that's a Harlem clique.
Yeah.
Right? Where he never played sports. He loved sports. He was a diehard supporter of the Harlem Football Club. And Walix just spoke about Kiwi. All of his cousins, male cousins I know, when I was in Dominica, played sports. You have Charles Roberts, who was his first cousin and was a dynamic point guard for the Carolina Cardinals. You had Kiwi Bernard Thomas, small forward, shooting guard for the Carolina Cardinals. You had
Tosh
Bernard, Professor Thomas, Herbert Thomas, who just passed a couple months ago, who was one of the founders of basketball in Dominica. You have Tosh. Fitzroy is a Williams. He's also a Lugie.
Yes.
On the side, right? Yes. But I want our listeners Wadix today to understand this. While Fitzroy did not play sports, and I will not get into why, there was a particular health condition where he couldn't play sports.
Yeah.
All right, so I will not get into this.
Yeah.
But he was a diehard supporter of his cousins, but particularly for Carolina Cardinals, he had that going for him and for the Harlem Sports Club. So let me talk about a little relationship with him and the Harlem Sports Club.
Yeah.
All right, because he's South. Remember, he's Queen Mary Street back then and Bath Road. His grandmother, his uncle, his father is from a little street we call Guava Lane between High Street and Bath Road. So that's where his father was raised. Colbert Williams, who's another relative and sportsman, raised in that same area together, all of us. So you're looking at the non-musical clique of Fitzroy, right? While I must say, he was itching to play sports, but physically he could not. That's all I have to say on that. However, you could not tear him away from the Harlem Sports Club. You could not tear him away from the Carolina Cardinals basketball team. Because I played football, I played basketball. I know what I was there. Only if he started playing when I left, after I left in 73. But as a lover, but as a matter of fact, Wallace, Paris Saint-Germain, that's his team. Yeah. That's his main team on the French side. We discuss football all the time. And his mom couldn't stand Harlem taking a loss. Because all of us in that corridor there, my mother, his mom, nobody can take a loss for that. So outside of the music, on the sports side, he really wanted to. Not that he didn't want to, but he could not. Not that he didn't want to. He could not go in and say, I'm going to put my boots, put on my t-shirt. Not even school leagues. We played school leagues. I know Alex remember school leagues. We played school leagues and we played club football. Some of us played national football. And he couldn't and he wanted. But you know what he used to do, Alex? While we cutting Vary on the savannah, dancing and dribbling and kicking and what Windsor Park and what. Fitzroy always had condensed milk tins. The little condensed milk tins. Mm-hmm. And while we're playing, he's making notes on the tin. Wow. So he would play a whole tune on the, the condensed milk tin. Yeah. He would carve it like a steel band. Mm-hmm. And while we enjoying ourselves playing football, he would deal with the pencil, with the rubber band, and he would be playing his notes on that little condensed milk tin. Mm-hmm. You know what Fitzroy told me once? I'm staying to sports, right? Because I want to get into one or two other areas with Fitzroy. She told me, Zal, let me tell you something. You see how all you both start playing football and all you show off, right? I'm a musician. Your game must come to an end. But music does not finish. I like that. Music does not finish. You must retire. I guarantee you bound to retire. But music has no retirement. So while you will be retiring, I will be playing still. I hope you can handle that.
That's vision. That's tremendous vision. And you guys were, pretty young at the time.
We were very young. We were very young. And given that, we're from an area where the Harlem Rock Festival,
yes,
actually started, initiated, and completed. Mm-hmm. Fitzroy was a critical element of this. Because my brother Loftus was like a father to Fitzroy, father to Jeff Joe, and Fitzroy was a critical element. I hear somebody on your show saying there are 21 bands, local bands. They forget we had foreign bands too, We had Shot Shit and what have you from Antigua and what. So we had a millage of bands coming in. But at Fitzroy age, about 18, 17, during the Harlem Rock Festival, to play such a critical role with Loftus, Emmanuel, in putting this thing together, it was just amazing.
And we're talking about the Harlem Rock Festival in 71 or 72?
71.
1971.
Yes. He was a
First ever major festival in Dominica.
first ever major festival, and Loftus gave him the lead to deal with a lot of the bands because he had that link. And he delivered. There was something like 23, 24 bands, including the foreign bands.
Over a 2-day, 3-day period?
3-day period. Over the 3-day period. And he was very instrumental in this. Now, a lot of people must understand when we're dealing with Harlem and we're dealing with culture, we're dealing with sports, that Harlem, the Newtown area, in my time growing up, had a major organization called the Thunderbirds organization. Right. But the area also had a little organization they call Limers. Limers was us, Fitzroy, Loftus, myself, Geoff Austin, Oliver Grill, a set of us, younger than Owen and Tom Webb and them. We were much younger. But we had our own space. And Thunderbirds had their own space. Right? And what we did as the younger kids, right, looking at our big brothers, we took their role in organizing carnival bands. Right? So the first band we did was called Psychedelic Cards.
Wow.
And that was the first time in Dominica you had an organized costume band playing mass on Tuesday. Carnival.
Can you remember the year, sir?
63.
1963.
Of the fire.
That's the year of the fire.
Year of the fire.
Wow.
All right. Now, what happened is, what is people probably know, on Tuesday afternoon carnival, people used to use t-shirt or boat neck.
Yes.
You have your little boat neck, you play in mass. And Loftus decided that was enough. So he's going to make, he called Fitzroy, all of us together and say, we're going to look at the cards, take the pack of cards, and we're going to make a headpiece for each card.
Yeah.
That's why we call it psychedelic cards. And again, Fitzroy, the young Fitzroy with his creativity and his understanding of, at that time, of the cultural industries in Dominica. He played a critical role in wire bending, in setting up, the whole, some headpieces, dealing with it, organizing.
Actually making costumes.
Well, we'll get more into that if I have time. Making costumes at that age. All right? So, we decided that at one point in our Limer's existence, because Fitzroy, don't tell us already, it shouldn't be Thunderbirds organizing carnival. It should be Limers. Yeah. Because it is Limers that right now running Thunderbirds. Yeah. So he has always taken the position that it should be Limers. But we always say that Thunderbirds is a bigger, organization. The elders, we respect the elders. And therefore we incorporate Thunderbirds into our creativity. Yeah. All right? Thunderbirds and Fitzroy. When we took over Thunderbirds in 2010, it was, kind of dying species. And we decided that we would revive it. Right? And he came up with an idea. Dig this, We said we're going to make a band reflections going back to all the bands the bigger brothers had organized and have a section for each year, what we can remember they did. Fitzroy said, okay, that's all right. But we're going to approach it differently. We're going to create section leaders. Instead of allowing one set of people to do all the work, if you have 5 sections, we're going to have a section leader and a team with that section leader. Right, for that purpose. And it worked out perfectly. Because Fitzroy always wanted to be the best in his costumes. Yeah? He was clean, immaculate, and in his costumes. Always
look for perfection.
And he chose a team. Because each section, including me, had to choose a team. You know who was on his team?
Earl must be on that team.
Freddie
Freddie was
Nicholas is on
relative.
that team. The Jury Morillon, who was the
on that
tailor, the
What about
organizer.
Glenn Ducree? Glenn Ducree would be
No, Glenn has his own
one
section.
team. Okay, all right.
Glenn was a section leader. And Patricia Brownie. It was 5 of them who organized their sections. And if you go back to 2011 up until, let's say, 2023, all the front sections of Thunderbirds band is Fitzroy creation. So Fitzroy is not only music. What we really want to stress today, he's not only music. He was deeply involved in the cultural industries, which includes music, arts, right, and other aspects of our culture. Right? So we have to give him credit. Yes, play for one of the best probably organists in the Caribbean and in the Francophone world, according to Wadix. But we must always understand that he went beyond playing an organ. He made a significant contribution to Carnival and to Thunderbirds and to Limers and to his community. Roseau Central tied in with Roseau South. Yeah, he's from Roseau Central, Queen Mary Street and Independence Street. Sorry, and Bath Road. So he's from that area, but he leaned more to the south. He leaned more to us in
Because
the
the
south.
South was more cultural
More
than
cultural than central.
Central.
Yes, more cultural than central. Not that the central wasn't cultural,
They
you
had
know.
more musicians.
They had musicians, exactly. North had musicians too. We hadn't got musicians in the south.
More traditional culture.
We had 2 major Calypsonians, Spider and Ventura.
Yeah.
Well, Picky is not from Newtown, he's from River Street. But he claims to be, but that's all right? Okay. So I would really like to touch Wadix a little bit on outside his contribution to Carnival and Thunderbirds. He has to be blessed for that. And I'd like to touch on something that Fitzroy used to be searching for. And he found it. And that is an understanding of his African civilization. Yeah. All of us, we were searching. We were searching in those days, you know that, in the 60s. And but we were searching for our African self. And a number of things happened to us while we were growing up and searching for that identity, with our ancestors, with our own civilization. And that is, there was an incident that happened, deliberate incident happened between a brother at the academy and a student. And the brother name, I'll call his name, was Estrada, Mexican brother, who kicked a Dominican boy in the class. I will call his name, I think that's Mr. Bellot. And that sparked a student revolution in Dominica. I don't know if Alex was in Dominica then.
I was a little boy.
Okay.
I was a little boy.
And it sparked its demonstration that flew up Roseau Central from the academy and what have you. Right? Already there was the whole environment that created a discussion to empower people back then, to know themselves, to know their civilization, understand their culture. And that used to be every Sunday morning in the botanical gardens. You used to have the Black Power professionals like Bill Revere, Julie Johnson in the gardens preaching. Bernard Wilshire, Donald Peters, Hilroy Thomas, preaching that level of consciousness for you to be able to move forward. Fitzroy was searching too, like all of us, to find himself in that diaspora, the consciousness diaspora. You're different diasporas, right? Yes. In the consciousness diaspora. And you see, you're struggling to find himself. And he participated heavily in the demonstrations. His afro on him, his dashiki on him. Participated heavily in trying to find that self we were looking for. So we spoke all the time, and it was like we have to we have to get we must get that consciousness, because it is that consciousness, as we were told by the professionals, those who preach that power, that's going to set you free. And what else? When I look back and I listen to some of the music Fitzroy was playing and the lyrics, Tueyo, Tout mon manger.
Which was most of the lyrics was written by, as a matter of fact, all of the lyrics were written by Gordon.
No travail.
Yeah. Gordon Anderson. Yeah.
Lucifer, Vivant, Babylon.
Yeah.
So those type of lyrics, conscious music, reflecting in what he was taught while he was searching to be part of that African identity, that African civilization. And he got it.
Yeah.
He got it.
Which is very, very important. As a young person, you're searching to find out who you are, and you're experimenting quite a bit of influences around you. And then eventually you are part of a movement. Dominic created a sound you are with. And by the way, both Gordon and Fitzroy, you would have gone to school with them.
No. They went to academy. I went to Roseau Boys School. Oh. Yeah. I didn't go to academy or Roseau Boys School. No, I went to Roseau. Yeah, and he went to academy. I went to Roseau.
So then, they would have been around the same movement where the brother kicked the
little boy.
Right. So then they would have been part of the whole movement, the Black Power scene, even if they were not at the forefront, but they were following what's going on.
God was deeply involved.
Yes, God was deeply involved
in this whole demonstration. Yeah.
Yeah. He never told me that side of it. But it's important to know. It's important to know.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you can, from, no to have when you listen to the lyrical content of songs like these, you can tell it's not just people just writing. These people that experience certain consciousness and the ancestors through them telling us the story that we can comprehend of what went by. So you could feel that the lessons learned during that time were so important. And we have the music today, which are almost like gold. And that is one of the things I really hope that we can, from the series of discussion and tributes, we can learn to appreciate for what these brothers did for Dominica, kind of to record an era, that was so, to a black man, was so disgraceful to a black man, recorded in sound, and not only hit Dominica, hit the entire.
Well,
just 2 weeks ago, we were in Martinique, and No Travail Point was a major blast, and then Fitzroy was also part of the actual creation of those sounds. We need to be able to respect these guys and really honor them for what they did for us, which is not what we are good at.
Yeah, because here you have a young man who could have gone either way. And I think he used to work at the tobacco factory too.
Okay, possibly.
Yeah, possibly. I think so. And I'm almost correct that he used to work at the tobacco factory. But here's a young man.
I hope it's not there you got the cigarette smoking.
No. Well, it's possible. Here you have a young man, folks out there listening, family out there. You have a young man who could have gone another direction.
Anywhere.
He could have gone anywhere.
Anywhere.
Educated.
Yes.
I'm talented. He could have gone anywhere. But you know what he chose to do? Represent his civilization.
Yes.
He made a living out of it, true. But to represent his civilization. And folks, when I say civilization, I'm talking about we in the diaspora. Africans in the diaspora, we have a whole history behind us. And it is up to us to find it, and Fitzroy's found it. As I said, it's reflected in quite a few of their songs.
Yeah.
That he found it. And he would not let it go. He would not. He took it back into again the arts, into carnival. Because we made some together. If we made some Africa the First.
That's a band.
That's a Thunderbirds band, Africa the First. All right? And Viva South America. He was all part of that level of consciousness that display a contribution to his civilization. All right? So, When we think of our heroes, and I want to say something about that because I listened to Alex, I think it's yesterday or day before, talking about a space where we could visualize our heroes and
we
what
we,
have
we, we
you.
had a we
I
had a
mean,
facility down at the Bayfront.
yeah.
We seek permission from Mr. Bino Badwill, who was the then manager or CEO of TASPA, who was an actual integral part of the whole movement. He understood what it was for, and he was 100% behind it. So we actually contacted the Whitey Kubuli at Artists Association, who actually painted 18 of portraits of our legends to include Fitzroy, Gordon, Ophelia, Linford John, Anthony Gussie, Chobi Mack, Marcel Mack, Harley Butt, and go on and on. So we had that displayed here, and the images went as far all over the world, as far as Africa. But most importantly, the legends displayed were very happy that during their lifetime they were able to see themselves being honored in a tangible way by their country. And we felt we had to do something like that for them. And they were there, and everything was okay until the guys with their boats, when there were surges and there were inclement weather, decided to pull it up. We felt no problem, they could pull up the boats. But what they started to do was to leave the boats there, and boats stayed there for over a year. And that wasn't enough. They started to vandalize, mash up destroy some of the portraits. They'd actually destroy the one for Michael Henderson. And we felt, well, we have to try to preserve those because, I mean, quite a bit of energy and personal resources. We were not sponsored. We put out our Broim and myself, and with a little help from Astafans, who gave us some materials and Do It Center. But we had to put out our personal finances to do that for these legends. But we eventually removed it, and we have it in storage, and we're actually looking for a place to celebrate our heroes because we planned that was just the first 18, but we planned on doing so in calypso, we planned on doing so in traditional, because we know we have several people in the traditional realm who played their part from Sisi Kodera to
Yes.
Matutu and so on, so that people could have like a walk-in museum and get information, ask questions. We would have schools visiting, and quite a bit of people from all over messaged me, asking me about those portraits and so on. Even the legends took out pictures of them, and I happen to be fortunate to be passing once and saw Bird taking out several pictures of himself by his portrait, which is that you want. What these guys did for Dominica, creating a genre. And you would know the music that we were listening to then, the spooge and the funk and the ska and this kind of music. These guys came and they created, they fused the compa and the calypso, which we always listen to, and created a genre for us. Dominica's first genre, which went to the four corners of the globe. So that's why we felt it was important in our way to make sure that they, while they are alive, to be able to see how much we appreciate them. And we had to remove it. We're still looking feverishly for a place, and we have been asking all over for some empty lots, possibly in the city where we could display. And speaking about Bird, there is Bird just entering. Andrew Melanie Bird, welcome. I was just in Lofty the day I saw you taking out photographs of the portraits on the Bayfront. You could get closer to the mic, you and Freddie. We would welcome you and Freddie. We were just talking. Get closer, Freddie. Just sit there, just get closer. Fred Nicholas, myself and Za were just speaking about the portraits that we placed on the Bayfront. And as our contribution, we know what you guys have done. We have all the vinyls. We have transferred them to MP3 to make sure we have them documented. And then we wanted to do more to honor you guys in a way where all the younger people would know of you and know what you did for Dominica. So welcome again, Andrew Melanie Bird and Fred Nicholas.
Well,
Good
thank you.
morning, Bernie.
It's nice to be with you, Alex, and I would like to thank you and your compatriot, or good buddy Simon, for taking an active role in trying to help. Well, more than help, publicize the music, keep the music going, and keeping us alive. And
Big up, Freddie. Big up, Freddie. What's up, my brother?
Good morning, Alex, and your listeners.
Yes, we live on the big station Q95 FM.
Right, yes.
We are continuing the tribute, but what's up? But I know it's a major blow for you in particular.
I think come to terms with it's not here.
I know.
Let's see, you know.
Oh, I mean, on Sunday we knew he was ill. We knew he had that little challenge, especially breathing, which is what Zah didn't want to tell us earlier. But that sickness possibly could have been from childhood, and eventually escalated, in his older years or in his senior years. But we knew he was ill. But when the message did hit and came across, how you felt?
But the thing is, I spoke with him the same Sunday.
You serious?
And,
What was your last conversation about?
It was about carnival though.
Because I recall on Tuesday, if you recall, I brought you down to town.
Right.
And I brought him to town. And he's telling me, but you see how the world speaks, the universe speaks. He's telling me he's going on to town. He kind of didn't want to, but he's going on to town to jump in the same sensei for him and Fitzroy.
That's right.
And I dropped him to town for that.
Yeah.
And then he tell us about the rest of it.
Fitzroy, he told me, Freddie, boy, them fellas, which is since he not well and you don't play with them again, you don't jump in.
So he giving you a pressure.
So he tell me, go and play them for me, please, man. Go and play with them for me, please. Do it for me,
Yes.
So I say, okay, and I immediately call Zah.
Yeah.
And I say, Zah, you see, you make Fitzroy putting pressure on me. And I called Zah and said, well, I'm not sensei. I had one, but I'd gone someplace here and I forgot it there, And so I told Zah about the sensei. Well, he brought something with my sister.
Yeah.
But I didn't open it fully to see what was missing.
Mm-hmm.
But when he dropped me down and I went to my sister to dress to go to
the parade,
I seen only the pants. and
no top and the headpiece,
And I didn't really fully started from the pants.
Yeah.
I said, nah, and I did call Zah.
That's
and said, Zah, there's no top.
Yeah.
He said, welcome with a shirt.
But then here is a man possibly sick and was possibly on his dying bed or hours before he actually passed. And the culture was still in him.
Mm-hmm.
And he remembered, like you said, Zah, actually constructing the costumes
right.
for Thunderbirds. Yeah. And he's calling on one of his better friends to be part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As if one of his last wishes was for Freddie to be part.
To represent him, yes.
To represent him in the... I mean, this is phenomenal.
And what it's... Freddie, that's my partner. So I'll take the blows.
No, we can take. We're just having a discussion.
Yeah,
we can join Afi to tell us the steel pan part
because you said just on your show the fixture was here just a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, it was in January.
And your boys, we sit down with him and we talk. And you know what Fitzroy said to us? If they would release him from where he is, he would make a wheelchair sensei, Yo, you know what that is?
Yes.
You can put me on the wheelchair, I'll make a costume for the wheelchair.
But we don't continue, you see, he loved
closer to the mic, Freddie. Yes.
He loved carnival so much.
Yes.
That Saturday before he...
Sam Digua.
Right.
Oh no, well, last week Saturday.
Yeah.
Last week
Saturday into the
carnival. Into the carnival or after? After,
right.
Yeah, Saturday.
Then he told me, boss calling you to find out if he had carnival in Dominica because nobody calling him.
Oh.
So I tell him, well, I didn't get to talk to him that night. By the time I finished doing what I doing, it was too late to call him. Because sometimes he tell me that he had difficulty in sleeping, so I don't want to wake him up.
Yeah.
We'll call. Then, he tell me, yeah, man. That's Sunday, we're talking.
Yeah.
In talking to me, Freddie boy, I don't feeling too good. I'm not feeling too good. I say, okay, well, let's hang up and then.
That was the day before.
That's the Sunday,
The same day.
Yeah, man.
The same day he died, he told me he wasn't feeling good.
Yeah. And he said, I'm feeling good, Freddie. So I said, okay, well, let's hang up and we'll talk another time,
Yeah.
But not knowing that was the last time.
That was the last time you guys would talk. Yeah. This is so sad. We have Afi Mate. Let's just take Afi for a few words. We know he's just with us for a little while. Afi, good Morning to you. How are you, sir? Are you hearing us, Afi? Mr. Everton Martin, are you hearing us? Okay, our tech is making sure everything is on in order. As soon as you can possibly unmute your mic, we can listen to Afi Mate. But Bird,
Yes.
for those who may not know, tell the people, who Bird is, because most people may not know you're one of the most versatile and most gifted musicians, playing several instruments and played for several bands.
Yeah, I've been around. I'm from Portsmouth originally, so I studied maybe almost 60 years ago. Believe it or
60
not.
years ago.
Believe it or not, And I first met Fitzroy, I think it was 1976 or so. I knew him before because Exile One and the whole thing. Fitzroy, legend from Boys and Them and stuff. But I got a call to do a recording session, and when I got to the studio, he was on the session. It was for a guy from Guyana, French Guyana, named Danny Play. And also on that session, Zyro from Black Machine was a guitar player. His brother Perez played bass.
Yes.
We all know Perez as a keyboard player, but he played bass on that. And then we had Supran from Viking. So we caught a couple of sounds. And that's when I first worked with him. 3 years, but we weren't friends all these years. I just because even in that session, I never spoke to him.
But then you play drums, you play guitar.
Yeah, I played drums on that session.
But then you also play guitar, you also play keyboard, you also play brass.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like you're afraid, he's afraid to tell Dominic. How gifted he is, but I'm not. I'm not
His
afraid.
input.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have Afi? Good morning to you, Afi. Afi, how are you?
I'm fine. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. In the studios with us now is Zah Emmanuel, Andrew Bell on the bird, and Freddie Nicholas.
You have experts in the house.
Yes.
I will join as the amateur.
But you would have known Fitzroy possibly from childhood. Tell us who was Fitzroy, and what are some of the major highlights you remember from his life?
Well, my first connection with Fitzroy came in a panyard in the back of the Astafan's yard on Bath Road. We had a little band there, and I guess I saw a little boy, a short little guy, come into the panyard one day and demonstrating a lot of not just interest, but activity, which is an understanding of what we were doing without anybody having explained to him what we were doing. And that was 1957-58.
Wow.
Okay. I was 13 years old. And so we were practicing, and he came along with one or two other boys from the yard, and we always encouraged them. So I remember handing him the sticks to a tenor pan at the time, and it's like he was born with the sticks in his hand. And he started playing simple melodies. So we told him, look, anytime you want, come over there, look, the pans are there by Granny Astafan, take a pan and, make yourself. And so after that, whenever we went to the yard, we found him there.
Yeah.
There he was, if you will, making acquaintance, as they would say, with the instrument and the instrument with him. And actually, he stayed with that exercise until after a while we just stopped seeing him. And so by that time, he himself was turning 13. I don't know actually how old Fitzroy was or is, because I cannot find it. It's not comfortable for me to speak of him in the past tense yet.
No, I know.
So, I was 13 in 1958, 14 in 1959, and 15 in.
Would have been about 8, 9.
Okay, so he was a little boy,
He was born in 1950.
Well, there you go. So yeah, so he was a short little boy, but he was wise beyond his years and his size. And so we stopped seeing him, and then the band moved location. We shifted location to a location on Cork Street in the yard of Pemberton there, where Dons and Divas is located now. And he came once or twice, but not often. It was far from his home. And then now I know that he had begun to discover in himself what was his life mission, which was to be creative, to become committed to being creative, and to use his music to connect. So, three C's: his creativity. He had discovered at that early age, I think, with steel pan, that he had a natural connection to the seven notes of any scale. And he was navigating those seven notes on the instrument without even understanding at the time what he was doing. But that allowed him now to communicate with others, because the other kids his age used to stop playing when he came by because he was too he was too good for them even at that age. We encouraged him, and then he went on and found his love, which is the keyboard, and started making a name for himself. But I like to step back a second. What we saw in those early days in the Panyard was the blossoming of these three characteristics that I think walked with Fitzroy for the rest of his life. His creativity, and his creativity, which was born on the fact that every time he played a phrase of music, it was slightly different, because his creativity wouldn't allow him to be just a repeater of what he played before. So, and that came from the soul, that came from inside. His commitment to music as an art form, which was in his discipline, his dedication to rehearsing, to practicing, to listening, and to be on a constant learning curve. He never stopped learning. Although he became a teacher to many, he always was learning. So that commitment to the art form let him do that. And finally, he established and remained connected to other musicians who had the honor of being partners with him in his journey. But also, most important, Fitzroy remained connected to his audience. If you ever watched Fitzroy perform, he was not only playing, he was listening. He was sensing what the other musicians were doing. He didn't have to signal anything, or you didn't have to signal anything to him. And I'm sure Bird and Freddie and them would understand that. There was a kind of a natural, non-tangible communication with Fitzroy. And I remember years later, after Exile One got established and moved on, and he was in Paris, and I got this strange call. And he said, Avi, I have something I want you to do for me. I said, what is it, Fitzy? What is it? He said, I need a pan. And you have one? I want it. I didn't ask. On my next trip to France, which was not long thereafter, I was traveling a lot in those days, I brought the pan. He met me at the train station. He took the pan. He put an envelope in my hand, and I asked him, what is that? That is to pay for the pan. I said, I didn't tell you I was selling you nothing. You asked me to bring you a pan. I brought you a pan. And so we had a good, nice laugh about it. And that's when he brought the pan into the band. It was a gift from me to him, because, I mean, we had a spiritual connection that went back to the master fan's yard. And then over the years, he and I always challenged each other. Boy, we have to do something, we have to do something together. Da, 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 da. It never happened. It never happened. It never happened until Bird offered his studio. Just a couple of weeks before he died was the first time in my life, and this is my 80th year.
Wow.
That's the first time Fitzroy Williams and I were in a studio together. And he wasn't even playing live. He had a song, one of his songs he was redoing, and he asked me if I could do 8 bars of that song for him. Now, I know a lot of other musicians might have been insulted, but I was honored. If he had asked me to do 1 bar, I would have been happy to do it. And so, because as you know, I'm vision impaired. I don't really see anything very much nowadays. But music is not something you have to see. Music is something you feel. And so I went to Bird's studio. There was Fitzy, minus his locks. And because but effervescent. And I laid down about um, four interpretations of the bars for him and gave it to him and to Cornell. And Cornell agreed to work on it for him and see how he could incorporate some element of that input in the revised version of his song. But that was, in a sense, it was so extraordinary. It had to have signaled to me at the time, although I didn't get it. It had to have signaled to me that this was probably the last time that you and Fitzroy were going to be breathing the same oxygen.
Wow.
And it was the first time we had actually got as close as we could to a collab in life.
Wow.
Since those early days of Masterpan's Yard on Bath Road. So that is a journey that is filled with lessons for the younger musicians. Some of whom are in your studio, because all of you are young compared to me. And I really believe that if we can transmit those lessons of creativity, the value, the worth of creativity, that yes, you can become technically and clinically sound as a musician, as Fitzroy became. But more than that, it must be underpinned by a creativity, a freeness, a flow that is allowed by your soul to come through every time, in his case, you touch those keys. And that is what made him a standout person, a standout musician. And so we encourage creativity as well as the clinical understanding of the theory of music in the younger musicians. And then commitment. Fitzroy never stopped learning. His humility came through, although there are times when he sounded like he was instructing, but really basically he was suggesting. And that sense of humility, which you don't see often in younger musicians nowadays. Everybody, before they strike two chords, they become an expert and want to tell you how to do that and tell you what to do and so on. And so I really think that's as a second cluster of lessons that Fitzroy's life should signal to people engaged in music. And finally, connection. If you're in music and you're with a group of 2 or 3 or 20, you must first of all, through your music, connect with those other musicians. The language you're using is not English or French or patois. The language you're using is music.
Okay.
But you must find a way to connect. Because when you do, then all of you together can now connect with any audience anywhere in the world. And to prove that last point, some years ago, I traveled on a mission to Seychelles, the islands out in the Indian Ocean. The immigration officer looked at my passport and said, Dominica, ça c'est place Exile One, Dominica. The guy went wild, the immigration officer. By the time I got checked through the airport and got to my hotel, there was a call there. Please call the director of culture.
Wow.
That director of culture in Seychelles, he told me when he came to the hotel, he said, Mr. Martin, garçon, and we, they talk the Creole too. He said, I remember I was a little boy. I had to escape my father's house to go to the park to hear Exile One play in the Seychelles.
Wow.
And he mentioned Vivian Wallace, he mentioned Gordon, he mentioned Fitzy.
Yes.
And he said, how are they? So imagine the footprint of that man that we're talking about, and the footprint of his work. It's global. You go to any of the Francophone countries and you hear Exile One music. The only music that was more popular than Exile One was Bob Marley. Absolutely. But right behind Bob was the music of Exile One. And so we have to be thankful, we have to be honored and humble that such global talent is possible out of a tiny little island rock in the Caribbean, and find some way to reignite the spirit of Fitzroy into not just music, but certainly starting there, but try to ignite that and ignite it in every other endeavor that we undertake, be it in art, be it in agriculture, be it in science, be it in engineering. But because the lessons of his life is that he found a formula for living the life that he did,
Yeah,
which
man.
is so true.
I'm telling
And he's
you.
asking us, find your formula.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Afi, I would really want to thank you for those words there. As a matter of fact, I'm so emotional by hearing this aspect of Fitzroy's life, which I'm hearing for the first time, actually, and that's why we have this particular program paying tribute. And you
Mhm.
yourself, we need to do something very soon about yourself, not only as a musician, but as a statesman, as one who has done so much for Dominica. But I want to thank you for all your lessons you continue to give me and your mentorship as we continue with our brothers in studio. Look, Bird want to tell you something, Afi.
Good morning,
Ah,
Afi.
yeah,
We
but brother,
with
yeah,
Afi, we had the first infusion of pan and electric instruments here in Dominica. It was called
absolutely.
Whitchurch Panlec.
Mm.
You know, we had
Wow.
guys like Alan, Freddie on bass, and
Uh-huh.
Afi just
You
killing it up front.
serious?
Oh yeah, that was big.
You see,
Okay.
what did you don't know about that?
Well, I'm learning, and I'm enjoying
Yeah,
the lessons.
Um,
But
there you go.
thanks again. I want to get back to the boys, and we have to call Coach Comac.
Absolutely. My
Hopefully,
pleasure.
we
I just
thanks a
want
lot, my brother, and thanks
I
for
just want
everything.
to say one thing to Afi Zaymanuel here.
Hey, sir. Mm-hmm.
You said something there as privilege too, and that is the last collaboration between you and Fitzroy.
Yes.
I was privileged to that information because I was a Fitzroy house, and he says one thing he has to do before anything happened to him is to conclude his project with African Martin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
They were doing a project. I think he spoke to Cornell in my presence.
Yes.
Yes.
He said
Yes. Yes.
one thing he must finish
Mm-hmm.
because he always wanted to do something with Africa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ah, well, the
Yeah.
universe.
Well,
Once again,
I'm honored.
you can stay on if you feel like. We will and come in whenever. But I wanted
Yeah,
to reach out to Freddie in particular, who was, I mean, so close,
absolutely.
really, really,
Absolutely.
really close.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Zah gave us the
Yeah.
history, so you cannot run from it. That
Yeah,
you even
I probably have to leave very,
whatever.
very soon. But thank
Freddie,
you very much for the opportunity.
yeah, I know, I understand, I understand.
Mhm.
And I understand, my brother. I know, I understand, I understand. It's like a part of you missing.
Indeed.
Yes.
And
Yes.
this brother was a phenomenal brother. You would have played with him even when, I mean, Creole in the Park. You would have done stuff together. You would have
Yes.
done jazzy stuff. You would have done jazz stuff.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was the experience like besides your camaraderie with Fitzroy?
The first thing I really admire of Fitzroy is his confidence. Anytime you see him, he walks with a lot of confidence. And he we never get he never get annoyed with, well, he gets annoyed with certain things, but I understand why. Is to put it in,
Perfect.
and I like that about him, you know. And I remember once we used to play at the Cellars,
Yeah.
and we used to go set up about 3 p.m. set up, song check, little thing, those flavors, Jerry Mola.
And you're still some checking.
Yeah, we song checking. Because we were professional, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then to start at 9. But then he didn't have a vehicle then, so I was the transporter, And then when we done, we go home. He used to stay at Pato's because he didn't want to go back to Trafalgar. Because
Yeah.
It might be too late for the gig,
Yeah.
right? But then I live Louisville, but I have a car. We set up everything. Now we start at 9. If I'd come at 8:30, he would be annoyed with me.
You have to be at the venue for 8:50. You
Yeah.
have to be at the venue for 8:50.
And you could tell he wasn't going to say anything, but
He was annoyed, yeah.
his mood, And then, okay, when you going up, he's still not talking to me.
But you know it's because you were a few
Yeah.
minutes late.
And then, so when he get home, he say, all right, good night. Next day, he say, yo, what you doing? What you doing? He call me next morning, he say, what we doing? So we do again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all what about laughter? We laughed a lot,
Yeah.
To myself, a lot of
Fun.
things that, we never like, there's no tension and in terms of, And rehearsal time, Fitzroy always want to be on top of his
Yeah.
game. I like that about him. Come, I remember once he was telling Brady, the last thing we did,
Yeah.
a certain party, he want him to accent. Bash. But every time like Pat come, maybe Brady might be doing it,
Yeah.
and stop. So everybody, bash. As if to say, well,
Yeah. But it always for and it always for perfection.
Yes.
Perfection. It was a perfectionist. So what you actually hear out there, it was a series of practice sessions to get it right. So when you pay to come to that particular event, you will have gotten your money's worth. I just hope that our younger musicians can emulate, because time. You see, time. I'm an old school man, so I believe in time,
Yeah.
and
But
that
that's
is
nothing old school. Time is time.
time is
You
time.
don't have to.
You're supposed to start a gig, you prepare and you start a gig. It's like radio. Radio is time for me. I always try to be there early. You see me early. I mean, he would know.
Yeah.
I make sure I come there early, relax, whatever, so I don't get caught up on the road. I know nobody's on a Friday. I have to come here. I pack long. I am 10:15. I'm in town,
Yeah.
so I can relax myself. I'm a time person. I hope we can actually adopt that. But I really need to ask you guys that, because I've been asking that. We have had, let me see, so far one here on Tuesday night, DBS Radio, then KRFM. Now we climaxing here. How would you guys like to see Dominica show appreciation for this brother?
Very good, very, very good question. And you spoke of something earlier on, Walix, which is explaining why there should be a space given for the cultural industries in Dominica, right? And if there's anything I would like to see happen from a Thunderbirds perspective, because we're also part of the arts and culture, not on the musical side, but we're on the carnival side,
Traditional,
right? Traditional carnival side, is to find a location where all of what we're talking about, Afis talking, Julie Bird, to be exposed on a daily basis, a visual,
like a museum.
Yeah. And let me tell you, Murder, I always call you if something hit me.
Yes,
I always call and say, well, this is my thinking,
yes.
this is what
Yes.
we have the space.
Yeah.
We have the space right where the library is,
Yes.
to the other end of DBS. That space is there.
I've gotten that suggestion about a dozen times for this week.
Yeah, but that space is there, and that space has a historical content to it.
Yeah.
This is where our house of knowledge was located, and they're destroying it. Right? That space there could be set aside. It could be set aside space for a museum. A walk-in museum which would expose.
And it is so close to the cruise ship facility,
Well, office from that area, that's Heroes Park,
Yes.
Heroes Park already. And you're looking for Heroes Park.
But of course.
And that space is there. That space is underutilized. It's not utilized. It is time we get serious as a people and put an effort into setting up a space where our culture can be recognized and remembered.
And a day so we can also honor our heroes. I'm not sure if Bird, you wanted to add to any to this, because Vivian said straight off, official funeral.
That was my first thing. There's some people who actually deserve a state funeral. I think he falls within that category. For his contribution was vast and immense, really. And it was a bit of a lack of respect that I thought that the people were destroying the boards down there, like pulling up their boats, and the power that be didn't see
So do
Well,
something
then,
about it.
do
you know.
something about it. It was
You're
kind of
disturbed.
sad.
I know you feel sad that
Well,
it's
it
no
was
longer there.
disturbing because when I saw that Michael Henderson was crushed by the boats, and
Yeah.
a lot went into that. You guys put a lot into that, but not only that, all the artists that you guys gathered together to do that. That's a big thing too, because those guys did a great job.
And not only that, man, these young people, the YT Kubuli Artists Association, so they spend nights upon nights because we had a time frame, and me and my man, I like to push. So I would go there midnight, I would go there 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and this young artist would be there, sleeping there at the old mill. At the old mill, they actually did that, and they would be there overnight because when I realized, boy, time approaching, we need to get that out. And they were there. Even on the day we had to post, they were completing some of the images, and then to see our same Dominican people, we cannot coexist. We can't respect what these guys did for us, and they actually vandalized it. Before that, I got a lot of me sir. I'm just not saying it. I don't know if it's my fence that too low. But man plan to kill me for the same thing,
It's not your
The
fence.
owner of the boat, and I can say it categorically, the owner of the boat told me, if I make a mistake and touch the boat, he killing me,
You're by a barman.
Yes, my brother. But then I'm a potter's man, and I'm also a pot man.
Man, okay.
So I just left that alone, and I figured the easiest thing to avoid what that may happen, myself and Borim, we removed it, and we are looking for a place where we can have less issues with it. But then when I heard Dice on Tuesday night, we had a program in Creole, and he said he would come by the bayfront and look at the portraits and hoping one day he wish he would be part of those portraits. That is what you look. You see, you're looking for the younger artists, the younger people trying to emulate the what these guys are blazed, the trail they are blazed. That is how you motivate the people. That is how you inspire people to move for excellence. Because if you look at the track record, the record card of these musicians, Freddie, Aru, Bilo Men, Africa, you go on, Bird, Reggae Cowboys, Bilo Men, before that, Milestones, multi-talented, the ace, white arrow of everywhere you played would look for a bassman and come down for Freddie. It's because Freddie had something different from every other Caribbean bassman. You understand where I'm coming from? That's what we have.
It's a Jinping in the music,
Yeah, because
it's nobody Jinping in the music, I mean, just like that it is, nobody.
one of the things maybe Freddie afraid to say is Freddie have his vari too.
Plenty.
He's a very quiet guy, but once you give this guy an instrument, a bass,
Come alive.
he have his vari.
Yeah.
Now Freddie have his own vari.
We call it confidence.
Fitzroy have
Another kind of bar.
and poor my little partner Jerry.
He
He's in the music now because I was just blown away. And I am with Senator, one of my very good friends, watching Bird on one foot and on one hand playing with the band, and then he's having on the other finger, on the other hand, he's playing the cowbell. Man, I've never seen that before. And Trump playing cowbell, and then he's doing man, that is just part of this is genius.
Genius, yes.
And we're not talking about drum machine, we're talking about live drums. That is the caliber of the kind of guys that Dominica produced. And that's why I really truly believe we should honor the memory of the brother. Let's see if we can get Ko or maybe Kiwi from the people I gave you there. Yes, Freddie and Bird.
His name should be installed on something.
But of course, man.
Like it's totally forever.
Of course.
Like
Statue, somewhere.
Even if even in track of it, where he's from. Like,
Yes.
Let's say you build a school, a spot on the school.
Something.
It's showing them room.
Yes.
So that the youth will.
But of course, because he resided in Trafalgar and Rosa Valley,
That's where he made his home.
But even where Zah is telling us about where he was at. I mean, at 8 years old, we all know what an 8-year-old is. A short guy is coming to a pan yard, and when he comes on the pan, everybody have to stop.
Yeah.
This already
Yeah.
is genius.
Yeah, it's genius. Yeah.
You know, this
But,
already.
but what
Yes, but tell us.
But, right, because
But-
we knew that because as I said, you guys were not here yet. I've telling Malik, so we grew up together,
Mhm.
and he would take condensed milk tin.
Yes, we have Kiwi.
Okay, go.
And let us see if we can take Kiwi.
my-
Kiwi, good
my
morning
bad.
to you, Kiwi.
Yeah, morning, how is it?
Yes, sir.
Good,
Sakafe, how are things?
Uh,
Man, I know you were so close to Fitzroy. As a matter of fact, you guys live next to each other, cousins. Tell us how you remember your cousin Fitzroy.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, we have first cousins, and we are children of sisters, you know. It was basically four of us. I mean, it was Fitzroy, Charles Roberts, my brother Herbert, and myself. You know, we all grew up together in Bath Road, right opposite the Convent High School, you know. I mean, it was my brother was the older one, so it was Fitzroy, Charles, and myself who more or less together, you know, playing together, lining together, you know.
What was he like during those days, those early years?
Well, I mean, we were young guys. I mean, our backyard was the botanical gardens. You know, that's where we spend a lot of our time playing. You know, from there to go to the underpower, have a bath in the river, and back home. You know, so I mean, that was the life we live as young guys growing up. You know.
You ended up as one of our elite basketballers in Dominica, possibly one of the best small forward. Za I sent a message to you, but I saw you play, so I know what I'm speaking about. You ended up as one of our elite basketballers, small forward, and even sometimes point guard. Fitzroy ended up as one of possibly the best keyboardists in the region. Did you vision that? Did you vision that at an early age? Huh?
Myself and Charles were more into this sport and more in basketball. Fisher was into his music.
Uh-huh.
You know,
But-
Fisher was a man. I mean, we would get old those old time milk tins. You know, make it silver out of a milk tin.
Wow.
You know, get a stick and get some old tube bicycle tube to make it stick to play his steel band.
Yes.
You know, so he's right now. I mean, whilst we were all playing basketball or probably football, teacher would be playing and beating on his small steel band, making his music, you know.
Yes, yes.
And from there he developed, because from after he left steel band, he went into xylophone.
Yes.
Before he started playing keyboard, he was playing the xylophone. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's how he developed from there. I mean, his life was playing his music. You know, I mean, besides our normal young boys playing around, playing in the gardens or in the Union Club. You know, I mean, his time was getting his steel band or his xylophone and play his music. You know. Until he joined certain different bands like Boys on Them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how are you feeling, Kiwi? How are you feeling now that he has passed? We know he was ailing for some time. How are you feeling now he has passed?
Well, I mean, I personally not all that. I mean, in top shape, you know. I mean, I had that terrible accident, you know, and affected my nerves, you know. So since then I haven't been able to get back fully physically, you know. But I mean, I'm coping with everything, man. You know, so it's not a problem for me, you know.
But-
I mean,
Can we make a date one of those days I come to your home to do a program with you?
well, that wouldn't be a problem. I
Okay.
mean, that could always be arranged, you know.
Okay, great, my brother. Well, condolences to you on the passing of your cousin. And we will make an arrangement sometime soon, because for those who don't know who was Bernard Kiwi Thomas, definitely will make them know, one of the greatest basketballers Dominica ever produced. Thank you very much, Kiwi. And may God bless
okay,
you.
man, yeah, thanks
And
a lot.
and
Okay.
Joan, guys, we have to round up because of the news major coming up. We'll leave the last words for Zah, but Freddie, final words. I think I spoke to the person responsible for the funeral. His body may just be in just around next week, Wednesday, Thursday. So from the final arrangements will be made. But final words, Friday, and then Bird, and then Za.
Truly well, my partner. I miss you.
And Jamel the Bird.
And journey well, as I will parrot Freddie right there. Echo.
Let me just take a couple of seconds
Yes.
for something Thunderbirds has on our web page
Uh-huh.
that was dedicated to Fitzroy. And it's a did you know question that Fitzroy Williams, a pioneer of Kada's music and legendary keyboardist from Exile One, has also played a key role in the Thunderbirds Carnival Band. As a section leader, which is what I was saying, right, he has helped shape the vibrant and dynamic presentations of one of Dominica's most iconic carnival bands. His influence extends beyond the stage. Williams has been instrumental. I'm losing it. He has been instrumental in playing a critical role in Dominica's carnival, and we are asking each and every Dominican to remember him in their prayers.
Thank you very much, Za, Emmanuel, Freddie, Nicholas, Ajubel on the Bird. And we also heard from Afi Mate, one of my mentors who sends me prayers almost every morning. And also Bernard Kiwi Thomas. This was another Creole Heartbeat program. Prince Wadix. I really hope that we can give the brother a good send off. And I hope at least an official funeral can be considered. And let's do something tangible for the memory of this brother who was not only a musical icon, not only part of the creation of Dominica's first international music, but he was also someone integral into the Thunderbirds band now over 60 years.
Over 65.
Over 65 years
Yes.
now. And continues to be a monumental figure in our carnival, in our traditional aspect of our carnival. I'm Prince Wadix. May God bless you. May God bless Dominica.
Hit me with music if you're willing. I really like the people.